Is now being recorded. And today we're going to be going over the appointment book and the point of sale. So first thing, and remember everybody, for those of you, I don't know if there's anybody in this class that hasn't been in a class with me before, but please remember that if you have any questions at all, interrupt me, because I get going and sometimes I just will just steamroll right over you. So please feel free to interrupt me if you have a question. Whether it's on the exact topic that we're discussing at that time or not, because I don't want you to forget your question. Okay, so sales and appointment book. First thing that we want to do before we do anything else is we want to go here to setup, and then we're going to go to configuration, and we're going to go to the sales register. And now there's several different things that we can do here. One of these, probably most important right now, is to set the sales tax rates. So we press this button that says sales tax rates, and we're going to be putting in our retail tax rate, our service tax rate, and our additional retail tax rate. And I just realized that I'm using the wrong data. So hang on just a second. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to go to Setup, Configuration, General, and whoops, not General, Sales Register, Setup, Configuration, Sales Register, and go to my sales tax rates. This is where I'm going to put in my retail tax rate, my service tax rate, if any. Most states do not have service tax rates, so you're going to need to ask that. Almost all of them have retail tax rates. So find out what those are, plug them in. Now, certain states like New York and certain areas of Ohio also have additional retail tax rates. And that's where you hit a certain number, they start charging additional tax. Find out what the rules are concerning that and stick in, if you have an additional retail tax, that number there as well. All right, so when you are finished plugging those numbers in, you press save. That's going to be important because when you start actually doing sales at the point of sale, you want to make sure that the system is tracking your taxes. All right, next, we're going to go to setup again. We're going to go to configuration again. And we're going to go to sales register again. And we can go to receipt layout if we'd like. We don't have to. But with receipt layout, we're going to be able to put some information in here, a salutation, for instance, for the top of the receipt, maybe even a trailer, or you could just leave these blank. You can also choose to do things like print the cashier name on the receipt, print the signature line on the receipt if it's a hotel charge, print blank lines at the end of the receipt, print a duplicate receipt if it's a hotel charge, etc. So these are some options that you have for the receipt that's going to be generated. Now, some of these receipts are going to be printed. Others may very well be emailed. That's going to be a client preference. In the client files themselves, there is an email receipts button. If that is gray, the receipt will auto print. If this is blue, the receipt will automatically email, okay? So just want you to be aware of that. All right, so after we've set up our receipts, then we can go to setup again, configuration again. And this time, under sales register, we're going to select credit cards accepted. You do not have to, I don't want you to think, uh-oh, this means that we have to use their credit card system. You don't have to. We use Vantiv, by the way, Vantiv Mercury. Whether you're using our system for credit cards or not, if the customer is paying with a credit card, you still want to do this. So all you're going to do is you're going to type in the name of the credit card that you accept. For instance, Visa, and then you hit enter, and it will drop down into this box below. MasterCard, enter, and it will drop into the box below. American Express, etc. Debit cards, Discover, Diners Club, and then you can see I've got Annie and Visa here for no good reason other than just showing people how it's done. So I'll do that again right now, and I'm going to say Lydia, and enter. And now I can accept a Lydia card. There it is, okay? And exit. So that's as simple as it is to put it. By putting those names in, though, when somebody does pay with a credit card, but you are not necessarily processing directly through the software, you are still able to track what method of payment was used. In other words, you can say a credit card was used and it was a Visa, even though you're getting the authorization through a separate terminal that is not interfacing with the software. Okay? We'll get into that more when we get to the point of sale, but the important thing is that you want that set up before you get into the point of sale. That's why I showed it to you. Okay. Now, very quickly, because we're going to go back to setup in just a moment, the appointment book, you'll notice, is set up right now in 15-minute increments, okay? 8, 8:15, 8:30, 8:45, 9, 9:15, 9:30, 9:45, 10, etc. The appointment book is set up in 15-minute increments. That is the default. When you first install this software, wherever you install it, it's going to be in 15-minute increments. That may or may not be what your client wants. You can change that. And we'll go to Setup. And we'll go to Configuration, Appointments, and we will set our default screen parameters. Right now I'm saying when I first go into my appointment book, I want to see 10 columns across. And I want my default view scale to be in 15-minute increments. And that's why it is the way it is. I can change individual groups as well. And accept. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is start actually booking appointments. Does anybody have any questions at all on what we've covered so far? No? Okay.
Yes, sure.
Right, so
sorry, just a quick question on the you said 15 minutes and you can change.
Mm-hmm.
What if, like, I saw you have like set times anywhere from 5 to 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a customization? Like, what if it's like 35 minutes that they need for specific treatment?
Well, that's fine. If they need 35 minutes, then you would set it up in 5-minute increments. And then,
Okay.
here, let me show you. Let me show you something here. When you change it, for instance, when you actually create your services, let's say, let's go to massage here. And let's go to my, let's create a brand new one here really quick. We'll say Swedish, and we'll say that this is going to be a Swedish 35, okay? So this is a 35, not a 45, so 15-minute increments isn't going to work for it. And I'm going to say it's, I don't know, we'll say $50 just for the heck of it. And my time. Now, if I use these little arrows, which is what you have to do in order to get your time, right now this is going to go in 15-minute increments, okay? So I can't get it to 35. It goes from 15 to 30 to 45, and that's not working for me. I need it to be 35. Okay, so we're going to have to adjust that then. So I'm going to go to Setup, Configuration, Appointments, Set Default Screen Parameters, and I'm going to change it to 5-minute increments and accept. Now everything is that way now, and so when let's go to a group like Laser here or something like that. Wait a minute, what have I done? Setup, Configuration, Appointments, Default Screen Parameters, Default View Scale, Accept. I think that's right. Let's take a look here now. Let's go to our salon and spa services. Let's go to our massage. Choose my Swedish 35, and let's go to our times. And now, as you can see, it's going in 5-minute increments, okay? So I can now set it up as 35. So now I've got it at 35, and I'm going to save that. And I go into my book. I choose a group like massage, and I choose a service like the Swedish 35. There it is. Let's pull up a customer here. Go with Joanna here, and let's book that with Maureen. Now, I don't know how well you can see this, but here I've got starting at 11 o'clock, and it's occupying the entire 15-minute block, and this entire 15-minute block, and just a little smidge of the next 15-minute block. So it's actually bleeding over. This is 35 minutes long, whereas this one is a full hour. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
and if you needed to make a change on the fly, by the way, I can right-click, and I can change my appointment duration and maybe change it to 45 minutes. And now it's 45 minutes long. Change appointment duration, bring it back to 35 minutes, and accept. Now it's 35 minutes long again. Okay. All right. But I don't like 5-minute increments. So I'm going to change this back to my 15-minute. There we go. All right. Now, moving on. Let's talk about actually booking appointments now. How an appointment is booked in the system. 3 different appointment booking screens. There is the day view screen, there's the week view screen, and there's the month view screen. The day view and the week view are very similar. The month view is very different. So the day view screen is what we're looking at right now. And this day view screen is going to show the employees that are working on a particular day. So today I've got Tuesday, October 4th. And I've got Abigail and Anna and Kathy and Christian and Debbie and Leslie and Lizette, Lynn, Madison, and Matthew. Is that all of them? No, that's only 10 of them, because that's what my default is set for, show 10 columns. But I could see many more. Now I'm looking at all 14 people that are working today, simply because I press this plus sign that adds a column. And now I can even see rooms, and I can see equipment that's available today. I can see up to 31 columns on a single screen. It becomes a little bit crazy, but there you go. Right now you're looking at 31 total columns. And this little 15 is a little default drawback where I can just click on this and it'll take me to 15 automatically, which works very nicely for me. And
Can you
back
change
to 10.
that default?
Yeah, you can actually, yes.
So if I had
I haven't done that in a long time. But
okay.
if you have 17 operators, you can absolutely have it start at that number, 17, so that it will it'll look like this from the beginning.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go back to our 13 here. So I've got these 13 people working today, and now I'm going to book an appointment. And the way I do that is, in the day view screen, there are several different ways to pull up a customer. And I want to pull the customer up first. So these are the steps. We pull up a customer, we choose a group, we then choose a service within that group, and then we can book the appointment. But client name, group name, service name, then we can book the appointment. So client name, lots of different ways to pull up a customer. If the customer is in your database, you can click this button that says client. I just lost somebody. That's too bad. Gail, you still with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Lydia?
Lori's here.
He's there, good. Lydia, are you still with me? I think I might have lost Lydia. Okay, moving on. All right, so this client selection window comes up. This allows me to pull up a customer. I can pull up a customer by last name, which is the default, or I can click here and now I can look them up by first name. Or I can click here and now I can look them up by telephone number. Or I can click here and actually swipe a membership card to look them up. So don't click anything and it's defaulting by last name. So I want to show you something here. I'm going to type in Williams, enter, and as you can see, it's like somebody just came back to us. And right here, I've got all of these different people whose last name starts with Williams, including a few that say Williams' son. Now, that's one way to do it. I typed in Williams, all of these people came up, and now I can find who I want, like Angela Williams here, or Brenda Williams, etc. That's one way to do it. I could have done this. I could have typed the name here, Williams, enter, and then it asked me to pick from a list, and there, all those names are there again. And there's Angela Williams, there's Brenda Williams, there's Candace Williams, etc. So I can choose who I want, like Candace here. All right. Now, I could also, as I said, by clicking on, I can use these buttons too instead of typing. So if I was like using my finger on a tablet, I could use my finger and press W-I-L-L-I-A. Whoops, that's not, back up on that. L-L, Matthew. Where's my L's? L-L-I-A. There we go. M, and select. And everybody whose last name starts with Williams appears. So you can do that with your finger if you're using a tablet, an iPhone or a Surface or something like that. And not an iPhone, excuse me, I meant an iPad. And then you choose your customer by just clicking on their name, and their name fills in. So here I've got Miss Williams, and now I get to choose the group that we want to book for.
Cutting off.
You have a question?
Oh,
You got a question?
No, there's no.
Okay. All right, so then we're going to select something like massage. And as you can see, when I chose that group, everything just shifted. The reason that everything shifted is because now that I'm looking at the massage group, only my massage therapists appear, but along with the rooms that massages can be performed in and any equipment that may be required for those massages. And let's choose a different one. Let's go to waxing. Again, only my waxers and only the rooms that waxing can be done in. We'll choose something that doesn't require a room, like nails. Now all I've got are my nail techs. So every time you choose a group, you're going to be left with just the people and equipment that can be used in that group. So let's go back to massage. And then I'm going to choose a service. And I've got all of my different massage services here. And so let's go with a Swedish 60. And let's book that with Michelle at 12 o'clock. So under Michelle's column, I find the corresponding field for 12 o'clock, and there it is. And once I have found that, I left-click to block the timeout. When I left-click, it blocks the timeout, but it has not booked the appointment. In order to book the appointment, as you can see, it says right-click to book appointment. Somewhere inside of this blue box, anywhere at all, I need to right-click. And when I do that, this little window comes up, and it's telling me to choose what type of customer this is. If Miss Williams said, I want to see Michelle for my massage, that's a request. If Miss Williams said, I don't care who I see, that's a no type, okay? You also have things like bumpable, which allows you to see that this person can easily be bumped without causing any difficulty. Maybe you've got somebody important coming in, and there's no place to fit them. So you look for somebody who's bumpable. Ah, this person's bumpable, get rid of them. Put in the important person, something like that. So we're going to go ahead and choose. Is there a search for?
Bumpable?
No. Every one of these has a coded on the side here, like this purple strip.
Yeah.
That purple strip there means that this is a request. If I select no type, well, now that I chose no type, now it's asking me what room is this going to be in. I'm going to say Elixir. So my appointment is booked, but I chose a no type, no strip. So let's change the client type. And this time, let's say that it was a request, and there's my purple strip. Okay, let's change that. Let's change our client type. There we go. And let's say that they're bumpable, and it changed my strip.
So it's just color-coded, yeah.
And you'll get to know those colors. And by the way, if you say, well, you know what, that's just a little bit too similar to this color. This color, too similar to this, and my eyes, you know, I'm a little bit colorblind. That's not going to work for me. It's not a problem. You can make changes to things like the screen colors. So you can say, you know what, that bumpable color, I need it to be very different. So instead of this, my bumpable indication will be this, let's go with this dark green here, and we'll save that. And now it's dark green. Does that make sense? All right, so moving on. So let's book another appointment. I'm going to book this time, I'm going to book a hot stone massage. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want you guys to see, we'll go with Brian Fisher here, staying in the massage group, and I'm going to choose my hot stone 60. Now this is important because you're going to see how equipment is chosen as well. I'm going to book this with Anna at 11 o'clock. And I'm going to say it's a request. It asks me for the room, and I'm going to choose my Elixir room. And now it's going to ask me for the equipment. And I'm going to say I want to use the black stones, and accept. So Brian Fisher was booked with Anna in the Elixir room with the black stones. Sounds like a game of Clue, doesn't it? But there you go. That's 3-tiered booking. You're booking the staff member, you're booking a room, and you are booking a piece of equipment. Now, you may not need those things. Let's choose a different group here. Let's go with nails, and let's choose a new customer. We'll go with Angela Gabusi here. Chose nails already. We'll go with a French manicure, and we'll book that with Melinda at 10 o'clock. That's it. It booked. Notice, it did not ask me for a room. It did not ask me for equipment because I don't have to book any of those. So it just booked the person. Okay. Now, you might say, look, everything we do requires a room, whether it's waxing or massage or even nails, whatever we do, it requires its own special room. We don't do anything out in the open. Okay, no problem. So you say, but boy, every single time I book an appointment, I've got to choose a room. Wouldn't it be nice if it could just grab a room for me that this service can be performed in? Well, it certainly can. There are different ways to do that. One of those is a setup preference. I'm going to go to Setup, Preferences, and then from there I'm going to select Setup Preferences Appointments. There we go. And one of these says Auto Book Room if only one is available. Okay? Now this is important. Get rid of that. This is important because you may have 4 rooms and 3 of them have already been booked. So when you're booking the next appointment, and it requires a room, you don't want it to ask you for a room when there's only 1 room. So by simply having this checked, it will automatically book that room as long as there's only 1 available. Okay? All right. Now, in the employee files, you can also address it that way as well. You've got something here called Room Preferences, and you get to choose your employee, like Christian or Debbie. So let's go back to Christian because that's what I wanted. And then the first room choice. And I can say, I want the first room choice to be the elixir room and the second room choice to be the herbal room. And save. So in other words, if those rooms are available, I want the system not to ask me, but to simply book it. So I said elixir was my first choice. So if the elixir room's already booked and Christian's trying to book an appointment, it will automatically then book with the herbal room, because that's the second choice. If they are both already being occupied at the time of that appointment booking, then it will instead ask you for a room. So it won't ask if either one of those 2 rooms is available, but if neither of them are, that's when it'll ask you for a room booking. All right. So another thing that we can do here now, we've talked about booking an appointment and how it's done. You choose the client, you choose the group, you choose the service, you left-click to block out the time, you right-click to book the appointment. Now, we want to reschedule an appointment. And you can reschedule appointments whether they are using rooms and equipment or not. So for instance, Joanna here, well, let's start with Angela here because she's not using a room. Angela here wants to change her time till 12 o'clock today. Check, and move it to 12 o'clock. And then, notice, by the way, I selected that reschedule, and that activated my drag and drop. So we'll move Angela to 1 o'clock, we'll move Angela to 2 o'clock, we'll move Angela back to 11 o'clock. Really easy, okay? Now, Angela says, you know what, I can't come in today. Can't come in at all. I need to book sometime else this week, but I want to be with Melinda. You know she wants to be with Melinda because it's purple strip here. So I'm going to go to Melinda's name, I'm going to right-click, and now I'm going to go to Melinda's week view by clicking on week view. That brings me here. This is no longer looking at all of my staff members for a day. Instead, it's looking at only Melinda for 2 weeks. And just like everything else, the little plus signs, I can add additional days, up to 31 days on a single screen. But let's just stick here with our 2 weeks. And I'm going to hit reschedule. And I'm going to move Angela to Friday, October 7th. I'm going to move Angela to Tuesday, October 11th. I'm going to move her to 2 o'clock on the 12th or the 13th. And so we'll just move Angela along anywhere we want on the 13th or bring her right back to today. Really easy. And then to go back to our current date, to our day view, I can go to any one of these dates, but I'm going to go to today, October 4th, right-click, go to day. And I'm right back in that day view screen, okay? So that's the week view as opposed to the day view. The day view shows everybody working on a particular day. Week view shows one person for 2 weeks or more, depending on whether or not you want to see additional columns. Does that make sense to everybody? Let's go back to our massage group. Now, we said we already rescheduled Angela Gabusi. Now, what if I wanted to reschedule Angela Williams? Notice she's got a room too. So watch what happens. I just go to reschedule, and I'm going to move her to 1 o'clock. It asks me for the room. Elixir. Done. I'm going to move her to 10 o'clock. What room? Jasmine, or in this case, Herbal, and accept. Now you might say, wait a minute, the Jasmine room didn't have anybody in there. Services have rooms selected for them. What rooms can these services be done in? So there may be massages that can be done in the Jasmine room, but obviously this Swedish cannot be done in the Jasmine room. It's not selected for it. If it was, then Jasmine would have been one of my options. Now I want to do the hot stone. Watch this one. Reschedule, and I want to move to 1 o'clock. What room? What equipment? And it's booked. Let's go to the week view. We're going to go to Anna's week view, and we're going to move Brian to October 11th. Whoops, let's reschedule that. Move Brian to October 11th at 12 o'clock. Release. What room? What equipment? Even though you don't see the rooms and equipment on the week view screen, they still need to be selected, and so they did. And then once again, we'll move this back over here to 1 o'clock on October 4th. What room? And what equipment?
What if
and now we can go back to our, go ahead.
Taken up?
Oh, then you can't book the appointment. I mean, let's say that you've got 2 microdermabrasion machines and they're both being occupied because you've got 2 people getting microderms, and somebody would like to book a microderm at that same time. Well, can't be done. Well, let's take a look. Let's do it. We're going to jump here to our massage group again. In fact, let's go to our laser group. Oh no, I've got too many lasers. Let's go back to massage, because the easiest thing to do is the hot stones, because I've only got 2 of them. I've got the black stones and the red stones. So let's choose a customer. We'll go with Jenny here, and let's book her at 1 o'clock, which is what time Brian Fisher is booked for his hot stone. And we're going to book her with Christian for the hot stone 60. Right here. Equipment, red stones. So now I've got Brian booked with the black stones. I've got Jenny booked with the red stones, all in different rooms, by the way. Let's do one more. Let's go with Colleen here, and let's book her with Maureen, also for a hot stone. No equipment available. Can't do it.
That's good. Excellent, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions on anything that we've seen so far before we continue? No? Okay. All right, so staying here in the appointment book, the next thing that we're going to be doing is unbooking an appointment. So I'm going to unbook Miss Babcock here. She was booked online. She called and said, I'm so sorry, but I can't make it. So I'm going to right-click on her appointment. And there's all sorts of things I can do. But 2 of them at the bottom here say unbook and unbook all this day. I need you to understand the difference between these 2, because a lot of people are terrified when they see this button that says unbook all this day. And they think that if they accidentally click on that, it's going to wipe out all the appointments that they have today, which is absolutely not the case. If I press unbook for Michelle Babcock's appointment here, it will ask me if I would like to unbook this appointment. Am I sure I want to do that? And I'm going to say yes. And then that appointment vanishes. If I said unbook all this day, it would do the same thing exactly. However, if Miss Babcock had multiple appointments for today, and I didn't want to have to unbook each one of them individually, then I could choose unbook all this day. It's not going to unbook all the appointments you have. It's only going to unbook all the appointments you have for Miss Babcock. So she's got 3 services scheduled for today, and she can't come in today. Her son's sick. And so you say, okay, no problem. So if you said unbook on one of them, the other 2 would still be booked. And you'd have to go to each one of them individually and select unbook. So why do that? Just find one of them, select unbook all this day, and it'll get rid of all 3 of them, all 4 of them, all 5 of them, whatever she has. Okay? All right. But let's talk about unbooking. So I'm going to click on unbook. Are you sure you want to unbook this appointment? The answer is yes, and it's gone. Now, what if you see Miss Babcock? She walks through your door, and she says, oh, here for my, I'm scheduled for an 11 o'clock with Debbie. And so you go to check her in, and she's not there. I'm looking at Debbie's column here, looking at 11 o'clock. Are you sure your appointment was today, Miss Babcock? Absolutely, yes. I even got a confirmation. I know that my appointment was done today. Well, you're looking at the appointment book here and there's nothing there. Okay, what do we do? Well, one of the things that we can do is appointment inquiry. And the appointment inquiry will show you any appointment that was ever booked, whether it was unbooked or rescheduled or not. So I could say, for instance, I want to see for all operators, for all services, and I want to restrict by a date. So I want it to just be for today, 10/04/16 to 10/04/16, and display. And all the appointments will be listed that were booked for today. And I can see the different things here. I've got Cyril Dad, Jenny Eisen, Joanna D, Angela Williams, et cetera, Brian Fisher. And so, wait a minute, what about my unbooked file and display? Whoa, we've got some other people here, don't we? We've got a number of them. And there's Miss Babcock's. She was booked for 11 o'clock with a blow, dry, and curl with Debbie. Highlight it. Let's take a look here. When was she unbooked? Oh, she booked on the web. Good to know. Who booked it? Who unbooked it? And what time was it unbooked? October 4th, 2016 at 12:34 p.m. It was unbooked. But who did that? Who unbooked it? Notice it says 0 here. Well, the reason that it says 0 is because I don't have password protection set up on my bookings and my unbookings. If I did, then it would say Matt unbooked this, because the system would know that it was Matt that did it. And how would it know? Because I used a password to do it. So whether or not an appointment appears on your appointment book, if it ever existed, you'll be able to find it in the appointment inquiry. Okay? And how did we get to that appointment inquiry again? We went to Appointments, Appointment Inquiry, Enter, or click, excuse me, left click. And that window comes up. Always restrict by a date range. Just letting you know that right now. It's really important, because if you forget to do that, then it's going to look for every appointment that has ever been made since the beginning of time. And you might be frozen up for 30 minutes while you're waiting. So be sure, before you ask it to display its search results, that you select a date range. Okay? I hope that makes sense to everybody. All right, let's head back to our appointment book. The next thing that we're going to talk about is booking a standing appointment. Well, what is a standing appointment? Many of you who get your hair done at a salon probably already know what that is. That is, you come in at 11 o'clock every other Tuesday. You come in at 1 o'clock every Wednesday. You come in at noon every day or every other day, whatever it may be. That is a standing appointment. And so we get to standing appointment from one of 3 different places. From the appointment book, I can click on standing appointment, and there it is. From the main menu, I can go to appointments and select standing appointments, and there it is. From the point of sale, I can go to book appointments and standing appointments, and there it is. So what is it? Let's pull it up. Let's book a standing appointment. I am going to say that here's somebody I don't use very often. Let's go with Kathleen Irand. Okay? And now I'm going to choose my operator. And I'm going to say the operator is Debbie. And I get to choose my service. And my service is a, let's go with a full massage. And the request type, did she ask for Debbie? I'm going to say, yeah, she did. When does she want to come in? And I'm going to say 10 a.m. And what frequency does she want to come in? Every day, every other day, every third day, every fourth, every week, every 2 weeks, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to say every 2 weeks. And my starting time is this one right here. I can click the plus sign or the minus sign, starting date, excuse me, not starting time. time of day is right here. So I could go and say this is going to be October 5th. Notice when I selected October 5th, my time of day changed immediately to 11:30. But when I went to the 4th, it's at 9. This is giving me the first available times. So let's go back to the 5th, 11:30 a.m. Every 2 weeks. How many total visits? From 1 all the way to 256. You realize, of course, that there are only 52 weeks in a year. So if this is every other week and you did 256, that would total out to over 10 years of bookings, which you may not want to do. Hundreds and hundreds of bookings. And you say, that's a little ridiculous. I know that they like me and that they're going to keep coming to see me, but they're really never going to be, I don't want to book them out more than, let's say, 10 appointments at a time. So let's go to 10. And now I can hit show. And it's going to show me all of my schedule here, Wednesday, October 19th at 11:30, but look, my status says X's. X's is bad. Let's change our time. Let's try 12:30 and show. Nope, no help. Let's try 1 o'clock and show. Not getting any help here, no love. Let's try, let's see, does she even work that day? Maybe I wonder if that's the issue. Let's go with 5 o'clock, show, no good. Let's try a different day. Let's go to the 6th and try noon on Thursdays, show. Oh, Debbie, boy, did I pick the wrong person. 1:45, show, okay. Another day, Friday, 11 a.m. Boy, did I pick the wrong person. Unless, hang on. Let's go to I wonder if I said that she doesn't do that particular service. Go to a Brazilian blowout. We'll say 9:30 a.m. and we'll say show. No. 11. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So at 11 o'clock, starting on Friday the 7th, Debbie is available for the Brazilian blowout. And you can see the OKs. That's the difference. When it says OK, the appointment can be booked. If it is X, you cannot book that appointment. Now, sometimes you'll see some OKs and some X's. And so you might click on one of them and choose an alternate operator or an alternate time, and then book it. But we're going to go ahead and say book, because these are all OK. Appointments have been booked. So that's a Brazilian blowout on October 7th with Kathy Irond. And let's take a look. We'll go to book. We'll go to the 7th. There's Kathy Irond for Brazilian blowout with Debbie at 11 o'clock. And if I decided I want to look at all of her appointments, I can go into her client information and say show appointments. And she's booked October 7th, October 21st, November 4th, November 18th, etc. And if I wanted to look at them here, go to my calendar, go to the 21st, accept, there it is for October 21st. Done. So the standing appointment works very nicely. Another thing that I want you to notice about the standing appointment is this button here that says auto standing. You might have only booked her 10 weeks out, or 10 appointments out, excuse me, that's 20 weeks because I said it was every other week. You might have only booked her 10 appointments out, but if you had auto standing checked, then you've kind of done it for infinity, because every single time she uses one of those appointments, it will automatically add another one to the end. So she will always be 10 appointments out, okay? All right, moving on. Going back to our appointment book. The next thing we do is multi-book. This is where we are booking multiple services simultaneously. And we can create pre-packaged, we can create packages prior to booking them. Or we can book packages on the fly without pre-created packages. So I can do this and say, Carrie Brock wants to meet with me tomorrow. I guess you guys know who Carrie is. I think she works with you. All right, so now I can go and choose single service or multi-service or princesses, Chrissy's, et cetera, Let's go with the princesses package. And then I get to choose a start date, like the 5th. Click. Now it's October 5th. Do I want to start in the morning or the afternoon or the evening? Or do I want to just ignore that and just choose a time? Like the customer says, no earlier than 9:30. Okay. And then I hit go. And it's going to find me every available option for that package. And that package happens to be 3 services. So let's try this one here, and we'll stop this. And let's go here, and let's show. So Maureen is going to do the acrylic tips at 10:30. Michelle is going to do the back facial at 11:30. And Abigail is going to do the microfacial at 12:30. Perfect. Does that work for the client? Yes. Okay, then let's choose our customer, whoever they may be, Amy Fabian here, and let's book it. Any rooms are required? Yep. Any equipment required? Yep. And the package is booked. And that was for October 5th. Let's take a look. There's Amy Fabian. But where else is the other things? Let's see more. There she is. Amy Fabian got a microfacial with Abigail. She's got acrylic tips full with Maureen. She's got a back facial with Michelle. You booked them all simultaneously because it was already a pre-created package. What if it wasn't? I can go to multi-book. And instead of choosing a pre-created package, like one of the ones that, you know, Princess's Day or Chrissy's package or something like that, I choose multi-service. And now I can create a package on the fly. So I can say, perhaps I want Kathy to do my acrylic overlay, followed by Debbie doing my 30-minute massage, followed by a back facial by Madison. Nope, she doesn't do back facials. She does Botox, though. Let's do that. All right, and accept. And now, once again, choose my date range, choose my time frame, hit go. It finds every available option, and then I can click on any of them, like this one here at 11 o'clock. So Kathy's doing the acrylic overlay at 11, Debbie's doing the 30-minute massage at 12, Madison's doing the Botox at 12:30. So let's book it with Maria DeCuna. And if I'm not mistaken, successfully booked. There we go. Well, let's take a look. Let's go back to today. There's Maria DeCuna with Kathy. There's Maria DeCuna with Debbie. There's Maria DeCuna with Madison. That's package booking. Does that make sense? All right. Wow, we have used a lot of time of this class already. We've only got about 10 more minutes. Again, there's a lot more to the appointment book, a lot more things that we have not even covered. When we right-click on here, like I said, there's so many different things that we can do, adding notes to an appointment, changing the actual service that's being done, changing the client, swapping with another client, things like that. There's all sorts of different things you can do, checking people in, sending out texts or emails saying your customer is here, stuff like that. All of that can be done just by right-clicking on it and choosing something, like checking this customer in. This client is 1 hour and 47 minutes late for check-in. Good to know. My message, custom message by SMS. So I'm going to send text. Kathy, your client Maria is here. And then I can hit page or SMS text. If you're using our pager system, which nobody uses anymore, you can page or you can hit SMS text. And this is, SMS text is the reason the page disappeared, because everybody was like, well, everybody's got their own pager now because they've got their smartphone in their pocket. And of course, you can place people on a waiting list, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So let's jump to our point of sale very quickly because we have very little time, and I want to just go over the basics. I'm going to right-click on Angela Williams here, and I'm going to select Check Out. And when I do that, it opens my point of sale with Miss Williams' ticket already filled in. I'm going to clear that, and I'm going to exit out of that, and I'm going to exit out of my appointment book. I do not have to be in the appointment book in order to process a sale for somebody who had an appointment with me today. I can go to sales, and I can go to right here where it says sales waiting. I use my drop down, and I've got everybody here, and let's try Miss Williams. And there she is again. She saw Michelle. She got a Swedish 60. She owes me $99. And now I can go here if she got upsold and say she also, while she was here, saw Debbie, and got a blow dry. And so now that's part of her ticket. By the way, I could have added a lot more than that. Let's remove this. And let's go back to services and say she saw Debbie and got a blow dry. And instead of hitting last, I'm going to hit more. She also saw Letitia. No, she didn't. She saw Lizette and got Botox. More. How many? 5 units. She also saw Maureen and got a color 1-step and last. And this requires a formula. Done. Miss Williams saw Michelle for a Swedish 60. She saw Debbie for a blow dry. She saw Lizette for 5 units of Botox. And she saw Maureen for a color 1-step. She owes me $274.25. Actually, she owes me $275.52 because of tax. And now I go to payment. Cash, check, credit card, gift certificate or gift card, series, on account, like a membership, or a deposit is a better way to put it, room charging, traveler's checks, unique customizable methods of payment, and finally, rewards points. Okay? So I choose something like cash, and she gives me a $100 bill. Well, she owes me $275.52, so I'm going to go ahead and accept that. Well, I'm not done. Now she owes me $175.52. She's going to give me a check for $75. And check number 125, and accept. Well, now she owes me $100.52, and she's going to put that on a credit card, and it's going to be a Visa, and accept, and accept. She didn't offer a tip because she's a big jerk. Just realized that I didn't do tips. Ask clients if they'd like to book their next appointment. In this case, I'm going to say no. So let's take a look, shall we? Let's go take a look at Miss Williams here. And let's look at her history. On October 4th of 2016, she saw Michelle, Debbie, Lizette, and Maureen. She bought no products on that day. And this was $99, this was $42, this was $63, and this was $70. But if I say, click on any of these and press View Transaction, I can see everything that happened on it, including the fact that she paid $100 in cash, $75 in check, and the balance on Visa. Make sense? All right. I'm going to take by your stunned silence that the answer is yes, it makes sense. Again, choose somebody like Maria DeCuna, payment, series, hotel charge, gift card, gift certificate, check, credit card, cash. He owes me $112, and he's going to give it to me in cash. $112.01, accept. And accept. And look at his history. And you'll get exactly, or I could even go to View Transactions, Last Transaction. There's Maria DeCuna. This is the last transaction that was done. She's obviously collecting rewards points too. She must be a member. Let's take a look. I forgot how to spell DeCuna, so I just put in. She's got 506 points, and she is a gold member. So yeah, she's collecting points as well. Okay. Now again, here at the point of sale, there's a lot of things we haven't discussed. We haven't discussed receipts, duplicating receipts, pre-printing receipts, adding retail to the sale, to the ticket, adding a gratuity to the ticket, things like that. Are there any questions at all on anything that we've covered today?
Not on my side.
Was there anything that you were hoping that I would cover that I didn't? No. Okay.
No, I think we're all getting a real good understanding of just how much this product can do.
Good. I'm very glad to hear that. And I think that once you have taken a few more of these classes with me, that you guys are going to get to the point where when somebody says, you know, our spa, you know, really's got a lot of it. You know, it's really important to us, and we need the software to be robust, and you're going to be very comfortable letting them know that there's nothing quite like IQSpa on the market, and they're not going to go out there and find a third-party software that's going to do for them what IQSpa can do for them. It's not just spa product that IQWare is pushing, it is the best product on the market. And it really does stand head and shoulders above the others, especially because of Darcy. But it really does stand head and shoulders above many of the others. Our next class, we're going to talk more about sales. We're going to cover a lot of the things that we did in sales. Then we're going to jump into reports. And we're going to start talking about that type of thing. And of course, we talked briefly about inventory when we were doing setup and things like that. But I also want to talk about how reports are going to affect inventory as well, like in-spa usage and things like that. Okay? Lydia or Gail or whomever is going to be responsible for the next one. Please just send me an email and we will book the next class at your convenience if that is available. And just let me know good times for you guys, and we'll go ahead and book it and get you out another link. And unless there are any questions at all, I want to thank you all again for spending time with me today. I think that we're going to get to a point where we're all exactly on the same page and IQSpa is humming again. In sales, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will look at calendars, Matt. I mean, you know, I don't want to keep usurping your time, but these are very valuable to us.
Well, today's only Tuesday. Let's do it again on Wednesday. Let's do it on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm looking at
As long
Thursday.
as
I'm
I've got the
thinking
time
maybe
available.
maybe
Actually, you know
Thursday
what?
at 1 Mountain, or
I apologize. I just realized Thursday is a very bad day for me. And the reason that Thursdays are always bad, not always bad, excuse me, but I want to show you something here just so for your reference. Thursdays are not always bad, but there is always one day of the week that's always bad. And so if you go to support on our website and go to training, there is right here where it says training classes and you can sign up for them. One day a week, I teach 4 classes in one day. And those classes usually are about an hour and a half long. And so where it says here, so Thursday, October 6th, from 8:30 to 9:30 at least, I've got my beginners class. Then from 10 to 11, I've got my advanced class. From 11:30 to 12:30, the Darcy Marketing. And from 1 to 2, online booking and retail. You're welcome to join these classes, by the way, but these are going to have live users actually in the class. And then, so then we've got some open dates, but then on Monday, October 10th, I'm doing it again. And then on Tuesday, October 18th, I'm doing it again. So if you want these things one-on-one with you guys, which is what I recommend, don't choose the 6th or the 10th or the 18th or the 26th of this month. And other than that, we should be good. Those days are going to be bad because they're just chock full of appointments. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, then I'll be looking forward to your email. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Matt.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.